Whoa. I'm flying to Serbia, and for many Chinese people, the country holds a special place in their hearts. Serbia shares amicable ties with China at many levels. According to a 2021 survey funded by the EU, over 80% of Serbians see China as a friend. It is a bond forged by decades-old cultural influences, mutual trust during critical times, key cooperation projects, and even a tragic event.
I was suggesting we bomb Belgrade.
No one at any stage in the process realized that our bombs were aimed at the Chinese embassy.
I am on a journey to explore the history and future of the two countries' relationship, and it starts at the Beijing airport. So, Serbia granted visa-free entry for Chinese tourists back in 2017 and became an increasingly popular tourist destination. As I waited to board, I texted a friend of mine, a vlogger-influencer who has holidayed in Serbia before.
总的来说，塞尔维亚给我的印象挺好的。我是2019年夏天去塞尔维亚旅居了1个月。塞尔维亚是第一个对中国开放免签的欧洲国家，当时还没有直航。
That's our flight. Since 2022, several direct flights have opened between selected Chinese cities and Serbia's Belgrade, adding another layer of attraction for travelers. Although we couldn't book a direct ticket this time, their frequency is expected to rise. On the plane, I did some homework about my destination by watching an old movie called Walter Defends Sarajevo, which was made in the 70s when Serbia was still part of socialist Yugoslavia. This film was a huge hit in China back then. A few days before my trip, I hosted a TV panel with Chinese and Serbian guests, and we talked about this movie. Walter Defends Sarajevo.
I am seen 15 times.
You've seen it 15 times.
In that movie is Mr. Živojinović, my hero, you know. He killing many fascists. Do so long, you know, 1 hour. Maybe some Chinese, like your father, who is the look maybe more about me, that movie, you know.
For my parents, they love it very much.
Yes.
Yes.
For the older generation in China, Walter Defends Sarajevo, dubbed in Mandarin, ignited their first curiosity about this region of the world. It was 2 hours well spent on the plane for me as well.
首都贝尔格莱德到处都有烤肉，还有各种卷饼卷肉。
I've never been so eager to land, get off the plane, and just explore. Next leg, Belgrade. Nikola Tesla Airport. How cool of a name is that? So we're 2 minutes out of the airport and we've already seen flags of both China and Serbia decorating the entire highway towards the city center. These flags are installed to welcome a state visit from the president of China. That has got to be the biggest Chinese national flag I've ever seen outside of China. Belgrade is a beautiful city, and half an hour away, Novi Sad, the second biggest city, is also stunning with its architecture. But first, I had an appetite to satisfy. Thank you. So this is Slavic meal.
Slavic meal, yes. As the name says, it's like from Slavic culture.
Oh, this is really tender. With that out of the way, let's explore Serbia. The top destination on my travel list was this, the Saint Sava. Wow. One of the largest Orthodox Christian churches in the world. It reminds me of Hagia Sophia. That's because it was indeed modeled against the almost 1,500-year-old Hagia Sophia in Istanbul. After admiring the architecture, I talked to a few Chinese tourists about why they traveled here. 为什么会选择来塞尔维亚旅游呢？
来看看这个是跟中国有一个很好的邦交嘛。
因为我感受到，首先塞尔维亚和中国的关系这些年来一直非常好，而且我也感受到塞尔维亚是一个风景非常优美的国家，所以我想要过来旅游。其实主要是因为免签，所以过来。对。
主要是因为免签。
So why are the two countries so close? Well, a historical factor that contributed to the connection between China and Serbia could actually be traced to one single incident. A fateful night 25 years ago, when NATO bombed the Chinese embassy in the capital of Belgrade.
This quiet street I'm walking on in Belgrade is called Confucius Street. And right behind this statue embodying Chinese culture is the brand new Chinese Cultural Center.
This exact spot is also ground zero for one of the biggest geopolitical tragedies of the past 30 years. It was 1999. The US-led NATO military alliance bombed Belgrade, which was then the capital of Yugoslavia. This intervention in a civil war marked the first instance of NATO using military force without UN Security Council endorsement. Then, on May 7th that year, 5 GPS-guided precision bombs were dropped on the Chinese embassy, killing 3 Chinese journalists.
The Americans insisted that it was an accident, that it wanted to bomb someplace else, but were using an outdated map of the Serbian capital. Well, this explanation didn't convince a whole lot of Chinese people, considering the fact that the error didn't seem to show on any intelligence or military databases used to cross-check targets, and also despite the fact that many US diplomats had actually been inside the building before.
The attack was a mistake. Let me emphasize our investigation has determined that no one, and I repeat, no one, knowingly targeted the Chinese embassy.
And clearly we didn't have accurate databases here. I find it embarrassing.
And I hate this.
Nevertheless, President Bill Clinton apologized for the event, and the US government paid $4.5 million to the affected families.
I come from China, so I think everybody who come to this place, and they should come to have a look.
Construction started in 2017 to transform this tragic spot into the new Chinese Cultural Center.
Look at it now. The outer design drew inspiration from an ancient Chinese painter who specialized in drawing mountains. Wow. Well, the first thing you see when you enter is a giant picture of flowers with the title, A Peaceful and Prosperous Time.
The building has 8 floors above ground and 2 floors below, consisting of culture halls, a hotel and restaurant, business meeting areas, as well as offices. Wang Jun is a Chinese businessman who operates the hotel and restaurant here.
A restaurant also serves as a training base jointly established by 2 technical colleges from China and Serbia. The purpose is to promote cultural exchange because dining is a major aspect of Chinese culture.
Zivili, 塞尔维亚就是干杯的意思，有点这个感觉。Zivili 碰杯。
您来塞尔维亚也很长时间了，您是什么时候来的塞尔维亚？
我是98年。
I came in 1998. Back then, this place was still the Chinese embassy.
那大使馆是99年的时候被炸的。
对，
您当时也在塞尔维亚。
我在塞尔维亚。
您能描述一下当时的场景吗？
We were staying nearby and we heard a huge blast. We learned later that it was the embassy. We hurried over and there were hundreds of overseas Chinese assisting in the rescue efforts. But we also felt disbelief. The embassy always assured us it was the safest place, that if we ever faced difficulties, we should go to the embassy. And now the embassy was bombed. What were we supposed to do? It was quite frightening at the time.
现在我们使馆被炸了，那怎么办？当时也比较恐惧。
When I was interviewed on local TV about the state visit, the topic of the embassy bombing was always brought up. It was an open wound seared into the collective memory of both countries. Today, Serbia is actively engaged as a partner in China's Belt and Road Initiative. While it is evident that history has played a role in shaping this evolving partnership, the emphasis of current collaborations pivoted towards future prospects. particularly in the realm of infrastructure development.
This 1,500-meter-long bridge was opened in 2014,
which is also known as the China-Serbia Friendship Bridge.
The city has experienced a remarkable reduction in traffic congestion with the completion of this bridge.
In 2012, 2 years before the bridge's construction was completed, Bata Jovanovic, the actor who played the lead hero in Walter Defends Sarajevo, visited the workers to wish them a happy Chinese New Year, clearly aware of the role he himself played in the ties between the two countries. Jovanovic passed away in 2016. Next, I visited another project with huge significance, not only for Serbia, but also for the broader region as well.
Today, we are taking the Belgrade-Budapest Railway, which had been a legendary train line. I'll tell you more when we're inside. 4 tickets to Novi Sad. Okay, now here's the backstory. The route of this train I'm taking on points towards Hungary's capital of Budapest, which was used over a century ago by the iconic Orient Express. Now, having survived 2 world wars, much of the line was barely usable, until now as it's reconstructed by Chinese railway builders.
Currently, only one section within Serbia is finished and open, running between Belgrade and the second largest city of Novi Sad.
It's perfect, it's comfortable.
I go to see my cousins in Novi Sad.
Before this train was upgraded, how long would it take for you to visit your family?
It would take very much longer. It would take like 2 hours or so, and now it's only half an hour, and it's great.
What's also worth mentioning is that everything on this rail line, from the signaling system all the way down to the nails, is made according to European Union standards.
And why is that important? Because the railway is part of a larger story of how China is helping to shape connectivity and trade in the region. See, work is accelerating to complete the rest of the line. The Belgrade-Budapest link is part of a bigger plan to extend the line south through North Macedonia to the Greek port of Piraeus, the largest port in the Eastern Mediterranean, now operated by a Chinese shipping company. I visited its massive cargo terminal last year.
With rails connecting Central Europe, Piraeus is also an important terminal for cars.
Better rail logistics will serve American and Chinese vehicle imports alike. China's BYD, a leading new energy vehicle maker, announced last year that it would establish a production center in southern Hungary. It's expected that the plant will eventually have access to the new train line. As trade between China and Europe continues to grow, the logistics infrastructure that China is helping to build comes into clearer perspective. In the end, both sides have a lot to gain from these projects. This reciprocity is really what their relationship is all about, not to mention the friendliness between the two peoples. In fact, the folks we met were probably extra chill since it was the Orthodox Easter holiday, which in Serbia fell in May this year. That's also why it felt kinda quiet back at the train station.
Hello? 4 tickets to Novi Sad. Now we've got the ticket for 11 o'clock. We still have half an hour to burn.
I waited for my fellow correspondent Alyosha Milenkovic to join me for the ride to Novi Sad, and he promised to show me some Easter customs in Serbia.
Mr. Alyosha,
I've got 4 words for you.
Which are?
Christos Vaskrese.
This is a Serbian Easter greeting that I have been practicing all morning.
Christos Vaskrese. Histo.
4 words for you.
Which are?
Christos Vaskrese.
Those are 2.
And you're late.
Here's your egg.
Now I'm happy.
Easter egg. This is a religious holiday which is dedicated only to Orthodox Christians, and Serbia is mostly an Orthodox Christian country, so it is a big deal today here.
and that's why nobody works here in Belgrade. And we tried to do some vox pops in Belgrade city center. It was almost impossible to find anybody to speak with us, and we were a number of times reprimanded by the people there who were saying, "Oh, you're working on Easter." It was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I have to work."
Alyosha then showed us an Easter tradition, the egg hitting contest.
So, you see, the egg has two opposite ends. One which is more blunt, one which is more pointy. So pointy one is fighting pointy one, and then you reverse, and then back end to the back end.
Okay.
So, but this is your egg. This is something you should do. I shouldn't do. So I will film you.
Okay. What happens if I lose or win?
Well, you have to eat it.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Then other end. You need to. Okay. Okay. Now try.
3, 2, 1.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So he's a winner. Well, it means that you'll have more luck than him.
He has more
He's
luck.
the egg champion.
I'll have more protein in the morning.
We always use either beetroot, either onion peels, and it is custom that you keep one egg for the entire year, and it is called housekeeper.
But our conversation took a more serious turn when the train was about to cross a particular bridge.
It is a bridge over Danube River. I was in Novi Sad when all three bridges were destroyed, and when the TV station was bombarded and destroyed as well, razed to the ground. And I clearly remember when this bridge was destroyed, I was in my apartment and playing some cards with my friends, and then we heard several loud bangs, and it was one of the NATO attempts to destroy it. They bombarded it for a long time. They couldn't destroy it because it was solid concrete, and at the end they managed it. So we are about to cross it now.
I was suggesting we bomb Belgrade and blow up all the bridges on the Drina. I was suggesting we take out his oil supplies. I was suggesting...
There's oil refinery, which was also destroyed during the bombardment. This bridge was rebuilt literally a couple of years ago, I think. It was rebuilt because of these railways.
For the past century, the collective memories between the Chinese and Serbians about this region was often associated with images of wars and conflicts. But it's now not hard to see that the bond between the two countries has evolved so much since then.
I have a positive opinion on China. They are always with us and we never had any quarrels. It is a big thing to be a friend of China. I expect even better relations between the two nations and peoples. Besides that, more economic cooperation, because having that collaboration is a big deal.
Kako Kina napreduje.